AFL Today's Round 16 preview is here. And lads, there's a lot of talk about the Darcys.
Yes, I think Darcy Cameron's going to absolutely school Paul Flinney and have a mega huge game on Saturday night.
I think Sam Darcy is also going to go big, not just his height, but also in the Sydney vs Dogs game on Friday night.
That is huge. Check out the AFL Today Show right now. Welcome back to the AFL Today Show for the AFL's Round 16 preview, brought to you by Stockhead. I'm your host, Liam McAllion, also known as the Stats Guy. They're getting very cuddly on the couch. He's still got a very nice beard. Liam Mullaly, how you going?
Yeah, I'm going good. Feeling a bit creeped out over here as well. For the audio listeners, Marcus is all over me, basically.
Yes, and the other guy on the couch is Marcus.
Get off me, bro.
Is Marcus
Get off
Bazzano. We might have to get HR in here before he gets the show going. How you going, Marcus?
Why doesn't he want to hold hands?
We're a professional show.
Come on.
What are you guys doing? Another awesome show as we dive into all the matchups, tips, stats, debates, locks, and big calls. Again, are we going to get the big calls, Leo?
No, we're not.
Oh, why not?
But we're going to get pretty darn close. That's what we're going to do.
Big call. I'll hold Leo's hand during the show.
It's not a big call, that's a lock.
That's an absolute lock. We're also going to have a rising star debate and everything in between. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notifications bell, goes a long way. Follow AFL Today across X, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Across all the socials, that's AFL Today AU, and Facebook is Aussie Rules Today. We've also got the Yana Beers social post. You can win some merch, some shirts, some hats, some beers. Leo, what's going to be that today? The Yana
It'll
post?
be rising star related, I believe.
Ooh, that'd be good. So make sure you check that out on the socials and get this podcast wherever you get your podcast platforms. All right, round 16 previews. We've got a few teams on the bye. Again, this is the last of the bye rounds, lads.
About time.
Can we just clap that? Come on.
About time.
Thank God. Thank God for that. So we got the Lions, the Bombers, the Cats, and the Giants on the bye. Let's get into round 16. Port Adelaide versus Carlton is Thursday night footy, 7:30 at the Adelaide Oval. Now, there's a lot to talk about here, Leo.
There's a lot to talk about, but I want to start by throwing a question right back at you, boys.
Okay.
So much pressure's been on Vossi this week. You know, Ken, he's under the succession plan cloud. Is this a sack the coach cup? Is that what we're going to call it?
Well, I mean, Ken's already basically sacked.
Basically sacked. So he's won it.
There's no pressure on Ken.
There is no pressure
Ken
on
just
Ken.
going, oh, if we win, we win. If we lose, I'm going to lose my job anyway. Whereas there's a lot of pressure on Vossi.
Unless Vossi loses his job before the end of the season, then technically Ken has won.
True. I think Ken's. I think he has won. What this game's going to come down to for mine, there's a lot of fitness and I guess output question marks in some key position players. So Curnow is set to play. He's not on the injury list.
What do we think about that?
I think Vossi hasn't learned his lesson yet again.
Don't ride his bike to the game this time?
Don't ride your bike to the game and, yeah, you might get hit by a car or something. No, that couldn't be good.
I hope he doesn't.
We hope he doesn't.
He was safety first. He was wearing his helmet. So
Yeah, but
that's good.
No
It's
a good
shin
example.
pads, though. I want to see him wear some shin guards as
On
well.
the bike.
On the bike. Wiedering is a
taps
test.
his knees.
Taps his some.
Head, shoulders, knees, and toes over here.
Wiedering is a test for the Blues. So he couldn't walk on it at one stage. He obviously got a jab and came back out. He didn't look himself. He looked really proppy. Then for Port, in probably better news, Lukosius is set to play. He's set to be available. Obviously injuring, I think it was his knee in round one or his leg in round one.
Yep.
And Alir should be back after his knee issue last week. So there's some big ins for the Port Adelaide power. And I think this game, there's a big watch on those key position players, especially with the recent scoring output from each side. Isn't that right, Stats Guy?
Absolutely. Port averages 60 points across their last 4 matches. And Carlton, they haven't scored above 90 points since round 7. And that included a run of 3 of the bottom 4 sides.
Yeah.
So they showed again last week they just haven't had the scoring output, which is a bit of a worry, especially Curnow at his best. You're obviously going to kick goals, but he's clearly not at his best. He's clearly under an injury cloud. And Port, I think their midfielders just get it longer. They get quicker clearances and a bit of chaos ball, and that's why they can score a bit more. Whereas Carlton sometimes a bit, all over the shop with that.
Carlton seem to sort of tap out after about 75, 80 points. They might start well, have a patch of play where they look like they could kick 100 points, and then they just go, nah.
No,
We don't have that. We don't have that in us.
To be fair, Mitch McGovern, I know it was a few junk time late goals. He kicked a few goals. So if he can replicate that earlier in the game rather than late against the North matchup, then that could be actually a good forward matchup for Carlton.
I think he may struggle though with the return of Alir. If you've got Sava playing really well down back, Alir as the intercept, and Lukosius is sort of just another key-ish sort of player for Port Adelaide that you have to worry about.
He'll help
especially
out Georgiades.
especially if Wiedering is unavailable.
Yep.
Yes,
No, good
sure.
shout. All right, tips and margin. Leo, this is your game. What are you starting with?
I think Port win, but under a goal. I'm going to say 3 points. This is going to be a very close game, I think.
Okay.
Maybe not the best to watch, but close.
Close. Marcus?
Okay, I'm going to go Port Adelaide by 15 points.
Ooh,
I think they will just get up and about enough to get over the line.
Yeah.
So if Carlton want to win, though, they got to silence that crowd pretty early and get off to a good start. Yep.
I'm going to say a bit more. I think with the Carlton injuries, even if they get Wiedering and Kerner to play, they're not going to be at their best. So I'm going to say Port by 25. If Port play anywhere near their best, they could even win by more. But I think they're a bit up and down. So I'm going to say 25 points. But I don't think it's going to be as close as you guys think on Thursday Night Footy.
There you go.
We'll see. All right. Friday night is the next one. Sydney versus Western Bulldogs. Friday night, 7:40 at the SCG. The Sydney players are back. The Dogs are fired up. I think this is going to be the game of the round, Marcus.
It is. It's by far going to be the game of the round. And you hit the nail on the head. The Sydney players are back. Goulden, Amadi, Papley, they were all influential in their win over Port Adelaide last week.
Amadi?
More like he
was
He
influential.
did kick a goal in points.
Yeah, 0-6.
He kicked 0-6. He got negative ranking points.
Yeah.
We did mention that on the previous show.
That's okay.
Wow. Imagine having 15 touches.
It was the worst ranked game in Champion Data history since 2010, I believe.
That's impressive.
That's impressive.
He's done well.
He's breaking records. But he does make a difference with his presence down there. And look, if he can just turn a few of those into goals, it's a different story. But anyways, the highlight on this game, I believe, is going to be star midfielders. The star midfielders are just going to be colliding. You got the likes of Heaney, Warner, Mills, Goulden for Sydney versus Richards, Bont, Libba, Kennedy for the Dogs.
You wouldn't have thought you'd put Kennedy and Richards like up there in the competitions like stars, but they have been this year. They've been unbelievable.
He's underrated, Richards.
No, I know he is.
You don't want him in your
though?
Australian.
Is he now, though?
Yes, because he doesn't want him in an
Because of
All-Australian
this
team.
Muppet, he's still underrated.
Oh, that's all right. If we all agreed on this show, it'd be a pretty boring show.
He is still underrated, and it just shows that the Dogs' scoring prowess, we talked about them, they scored 130 plus points in the previous 2 weeks, was against St Kilda and Richmond.
Still got to do it.
Still got to do it.
Yeah,
both
true,
at
true.
Marvel Stadium. And it was highlighted by the return of Sam Darcy, who's kicked 8 goals, I believe, across those 2 games, 5 against Richmond and 3 against the Saints. But can Sydney back it up and do it again? That's the real big question. It was a test against Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. They passed that with flying colours, in my opinion, keeping Port Adelaide to such a low score. But the Dogs are such a bigger test, and they haven't been the SCG hasn't been as much as a fortress as it has been in previous seasons. And I think the Dogs can go up there and do a job. They did it last time out, the previous meeting between the two sides. The Dogs won that. They kept Sydney to 40-odd points, and they started the game really well.
I forgot about that game.
They started the game really well, 35-1. But this season, all the scoring prowess for the Dogs has come from that midfield and the midfield dominance. They're the number 1 ranked clearance team in the competition, along with a couple others. I think averaging about 41.5, which is just a monster number for clearances. And it hasn't been Bont or the reliability on Bont and Libba, like the hour of McRae.
Even Chalor as well.
And Chalor being injured, yeah.
Well, it showed last week they're not relying on Bont in the midfield as much. So he kicked 3 goals, right? He could do that from midfield because he's that good. But because they got Richards, because they got Libba, because they got Kennedy jumping in there, even Fraser just gets a lot of the ball.
Sanders when he plays.
Sanders as well. Davidson's been pretty solid too.
He's a wingman.
No, but he's been getting a lot of the ball. They can just put Bont forward even more, and he could be a threat. Like, because teams aren't planning for him to be a forward as much as a midfielder. So I think it helps them so much.
Yep, I agree completely. And we look at the Swans' defense, and the Dogs are the number 1 average team per goals per game in the competition this season. Sydney are 14th. Sorry,
Per goals per
game.
Okay,
Goals
so
per game.
Basically
Goals per
good
game.
at scoring.
Yeah.
They're good at scoring.
Dumb it down for me, please.
Sydney are ranked 14th, but it is a different look forward line. Papley just played his first game of the season, didn't he, last week?
Yes.
Amadi just coming back after being in and out of the
Goulden can
side
kick
with
goals
injury
as well.
suspension. Goulden can chip in with some goals, and it takes a little bit of pressure off the forward line that have struggled already, and the midfielders, in particular Warner and Heaney, who have had to kick goals.
And like carry the load.
Yeah, to carry the load. But the Dogs midfield, that's where the scoring is coming from. And Richards is the number 1 score involvement player in the competition.
Pretty sure it leads goal assists as well. We talked about that in the All Australian chat last Thursday.
Yes.
Last Thursday
Yes,
show,
yes.
yeah.
In fact, they got 3 players in the top 8, the Dogs, all midfielders. So you got Tim English
Score involvement.
for score involvement. So Ed Richards, number 1.
English is 7th.
English is 7th in the competition for
That's
score
crazy.
involvements, and Libba in 8th. So, and we just highlighted English being 7th there. Grundy and English battle
that's
will
going to be tasty.
monster.
Because Grundy's in like the best form he's been in about 5 years. English is a little bit up and down, but he's still getting heaps of score involvement, still getting a
very
lot of the
good
ball.
ruckman, yeah.
So that's going to be fun.
Yeah, and Ruckman was a big talking point throughout the week.
Ruck, yeah.
Kane Corns did mention that if Sam Darcy gets injured while playing in the ruck, then when like the game is already over, that's a sackable offence
For Bevo.
for Bev.
Not
Well, for the
Sam
coach,
Darcy.
not for Sam Darcy, but for the coach. Do you agree with that, boys?
I agree if the game is done. If the game's
Yeah.
done, you rest your Lamborghini. You rest your Ferrari.
Yeah,
But if the game's on the
your Rolls
line,
Royce.
the bloke is 210 centimetres.
Yeah.
He can play ruck all day, any day. And if he's coming up against the second ruckman, which for some teams is a midfielder, he will absolutely, he could just grab the ball out of the ruck, fend off 8 blokes and kick another goal.
Yeah,
Let him play ruck.
I agree with Kane 100% last week because it was against Richmond. They absolutely smashing him. He definitely didn't need to go on the ruck. He's the Rolls Royce. He's the Ferrari, or whatever you want to call him. He is their best player, maybe besides Bond, that you need to stay fit. But I would never play him in the ruck. That's just my that's
Really?
my call.
Never?
Never play Sam
What
Darcy
if
in the
English
ruck.
needs a rest?
Don't care. Just put Rory Lobb or someone else
You could
in there.
put Aaron Norton
Put
there.
Norton in there.
Norton has hops.
Norton as a decoy ruck because Sam Darcy is their future. You're going to have him for so many years. Would you ever put Buddy in the ruck, Leo?
Buddy is a completely different
No,
player
just
to Sam
pretend
Darcy.
that-
He's 15 centimetres shorter than Sam Darcy.
But would you ever put him in the ruck?
No, because he's 15 centimetres shorter.
Because
you know what I just
you need to
said.
protect him. Everyone gets injured in the ruck.
No, I disagree.
Ruckmen
with
don't
you.
get injured in the ruck.
If
Oh.
you're fit enough to play and run out on the footy field, you should be able to go on the ruck.
Yes.
No, but he's a
At
full
his
forward.
height,
But if the game's done, I agree with Leo. You don't need to. But at start of the game, at any point in the game,
And he's gotten injured
You gotta do
multiple times. Just save him. He's a superstar on the rise.
I think people in the comments should let us know what side they're on here, whether on Stats Guy's idiotic side or Marcus and Leo's handsome, awesome,
Oh, the
cool
biased
side.
couch over there. There we
The
go.
biased couch.
All right, we've talked enough about this game. Tips and margin. I want yours first, Marcus.
I'm going to go the Dogs here. I think it's going to be a close game. We did say it's going to be the best game of the round, so keep your eyes on it. I'm going to go the Dogs by 10 points.
Ooh, close one.
Swans by 9. They're back.
I'm gonna,
Players are back.
Swans. He's going
They're
Swans.
going to get the way. Errol's going to be running. Papley's going to get involved. I reckon Swannies can do it.
Really? I'm going to go the Dogs by about 15 points. I think it's going to be really close, as Marcus said. It could definitely go either way, but I think the Dogs are just a little bit more classy. They've shown a bit more consistency. The Swans did beat Port, but we're a Port on the ladder. 14th.
Bottom 6.
Oh, they're 14th.
Something like that.
I thought they were 12th.
Maybe, but they're a lot lower than the Dogs. So I think the Dogs will get the job done at the SCG. All right, let's get into Saturday. Next one, Gold Coast versus Melbourne, Saturday at 1:20 at the People's Stadium. People First Stadium.
First.
People First Stadium. Now,
It's a very democratic name for a stadium.
People
it
do
is.
come
Why do you
first.
even know what's People First?
Put the people first.
They put the people first. I've got some interesting stats for you in this one. The last 5 meetings between the D's and the Suns have actually been won by the away side, and the Demons have won their last 7 away matches against the Suns, 6 of which were in Queensland. So they love...
It's a good record.
Yeah, last 7 away, and their last 6 in Queensland, they've beaten the Suns.
The teams that struggle going up there, like
Yeah.
in recent times, kudos D's.
Does that have to do with a few of their trips to the Northern Territory D's, maybe acclimatized to the
Acclimatising,
conditions? What do we
yes.
think about that one?
Maybe, but their fans are just used to acclimatising to the snow, the opposite.
That is true.
And also just Melbourne being good in recent years and Gold Coast relatively being poo.
That is some analysis right
That
there.
is good and boo.
That's a nugget of knowledge right there.
Nugget of knowledge, as always. Also, lads, there's been some talk in the media about Ben King, that he won't be able to live for finals. I've got some stats for you. He has been still kicked, I think he's kicked 35 goals this year, which is very impressive, but he's only kicked more than 2 goals once in his last 7 games. So he hasn't taken that next step. I just want to know your thoughts on that. Can he be a finals player? Can he step up for this side? And I'm personally not worried, but what do you guys think?
Well, I've got a stat for you boys. How many finals has he played in?
0.
Zero.
Yeah.
Let him play in a final first. What are we doing here?
I know. Honestly, he's a superstar of the competition. He's top 4 in the comm and he's kicked 33 goals
He's
this
their
season.
figurehead up forward.
Yeah, he's 100% the media's going a little bit.
The other thing is, I know he hasn't had that big bag for a while of goals, but he brings the ball to ground. He's the perfect lead. Like you've got so many of their mids that can stream forward, and he just he's the perfect forward still. So I'm still keen. And if they do make the finals, he can have a big final.
absolutely.
You guys agree?
Mate, the Wizard kicked 7 goals in 2 finals last year. You tell me Ben King couldn't do that? Like,
Yeah,
True. But is Ben King a wizard?
we'll find out.
We'll find
When
out.
the Suns play finals.
Suns
Stay
versus
tuned.
Hawks. There we go.
No, thank you.
A few more stats in this one. Gold Coast have the 4th best offense in the league with 93.3 points per game. They've also got 7 players in double figures for goals. They're just so even across the board, other than Kingy, obviously, with 35. And then you got Melbourne, 77.9 points a game, a lot less, and in 12th. So I think this is going to be a big factor in this one. Do you think that Melbourne can keep up with Gold Coast scoring? I don't think they can.
They could, but they might just score in points like they normally do.
Yeah,
with
7
these.
goals, 21 the other
7
week.
goals, yeah, they might have chuck in an 8 goals, 20 or something.
Yes, yeah, not wrong.
it could be whichever midfield kicks more goals because Gold Coast have been well on top in that area
Yes,
this season.
yeah.
They backed up Miller, yeah.
Took Miller's really lifted his game in that area. Anderson hitting the scoreboard, even Rao at some points. It's just whether Petrarca can nab a few.
No, true. Looking at the Melbourne side, they've actually been a lot stronger since their last meeting. So the Suns won by 58 points earlier in the season when they last met.
At the G, wasn't it?
At the G, which is a big surprise because they don't often win in Melbourne. But since then, Melbourne have beaten Brisbane, Freo, Sydney, and had a 1-point loss to Collingwood. So just a good look at output look for Melbourne fans is they've come a long way since that 58-point loss. But they've also lost some random games in between. You don't really know what you're going to get with this team, which is a bit of a worry. Suns. They've lost the last 3 in a row. They're out of the 8 currently. Marcus,
sounds like this could be a little bit of a danger game for the Suns. If they lose this and the teams above them win, they could go a game behind. And then I know there's a lot of teams with a very handy percentage as well.
Yeah, what do you think about this, Leo?
I think it is a danger game. Every game's a danger game, which we will touch on in the next game, actually.
Oh.
But
I thought it was Geelong playing, maybe.
Yeah.
what?
Danger zone.
That's a good one from you. Not really. I think this is a danger game ultimately, but the Suns just should get this done. They just should.
Yeah.
They let one slip last week. I think Dimmer will be on them this week. He'll be harsher at them. He'll take all that anger that he had about him flipping the bird and getting a fine for it and all that crap, and he'll direct it to the Suns. And did I just spit on you? Why are you shivering?
No, I'm getting scared. It's
That's okay.
the Dimmer rage.
Got some trauma there.
Yeah, when someone races them.
No, Dimmer will get him fired up and Suns will win.
Suns will win. Yeah, I think the Suns will win by 30 plus points. I'm going to say 35. I reckon they can get the job done pretty easy. It is a danger game, and if they do lose this game, then they're going to lose a lot of confidence for finals. It's very much of the Suns of the past where they'll lose this type of game when they're on the way to finals, but they'll win by 30 plus, I reckon. What do you think, Marcus?
I agree exactly with your margin there. I'll go 35 as well.
35. What was your margin?
4 goals.
4 goals. All right, that's not too bad. All right, this is Leo versus myself. Saturday, Arbor, 4:15 at UTAS Stadium in Launceston is Hawthorn versus North Melbourne. Leo is very nervous for some reason, Marcus, but surely the Hawks go into this as heavy favourites.
They do go in as heavy favourites, but I also think this could be a little bit of a tough. Well, it's not going to be as easy as the previous meeting, is it?
Danger game.
A danger game, apparently. It's not going to be, as one-sided, as I believe, as the previous meeting when Hawthorn won by 124 points.
I was there.
North gave up on this.
I had a nice golf trip, so that made up for it, but the game in the rain and there was a big line for the beers. You couldn't get food because the line was too long as well, and we lost by 124 points. But hopefully this game's good.
And you were in Tasmania. Horrible.
Nah, it was actually fun. It was actually fun. To all our Tassie listeners.
But it sounds like he's over it now.
They scored 170 points in that game. But what's the reason? What's the reason for you thinking it's a danger game, Leo?
Well, I just think Hawthorn this season, they've been good, right? But they probably haven't been at that level that they need to be. They haven't put together a complete game yet. Whereas North, the last 2 months, they've been competitive.
Yep.
They've been in a lot of games. They arguably could have won more games. They've shown more spirit, more fight.
Shitbone of spirit.
Oh, God, that's so cringe. I can't believe your fan base gets on board with that. This could be a good game. It could be a close game.
Oh, really?
And do we have something riding on it?
We do, actually. So we've got a forfeit between Leo and myself. So, but I get the line.
Yeah, I'm not happy with this one.
Everyone in the office gave me the line. So we've done our own sort of line, minus 29.5. So if the Hawks win by over 30 points, then Leo wins the forfeit, and under I win. Or if North win, then I definitely win. And what do we got riding on this one?
So the loser of this has to be the other's assistant for the whole day.
What are we going to get to do?
I wish I was involved in this one. I want the treatment.
Yeah, you can get the treatment, don't worry, man.
It's getting creepy on the couch. What does that include, do you think?
Like foot rubs,
Oh, no.
foot rest, massages, doing their own
Got something
work.
for feet, this bloke, I reckon.
Yeah, the first two things feet related?
Yeah.
Let's move on to the game. What happened since 2001, Marcus?
Well, since 2001, Leo's been doing foot massages and foot rubs for everyone that
when he was
meets.
born.
I can't do it on 1
When he
year
was
old.
born. Anyway, since 2001, Hawthorn actually have a superb record at UTAS. They've won 63 of a possible 84 games at UTAS, which
bad.
which equates to 75% of their games. So
Would you call it a
3 and 4.
fortress?
It is a fortress.
so.
It's one of the most successful records for any club at any ground in the league, which I don't think gets spoken about often enough. They won both of their games there this season, albeit narrow wins. Were in tough conditions though against GBS.
Yep.
In those blustery conditions, and also
The
against
Adelaide one was tough. Yeah.
The Adelaide one was tough, although they didn't play their very best, but they still get the job done.
Yep.
Which could be the case again this weekend. Whereas you look at North's record at UTAS, obviously a lot less games, but they are 1-3 in the past decade at UTAS. And North,
Oh, no. Don't say
the
it.
insane stat of North with a rest disadvantage. Will it continue? It's been 43 games now.
Oh, records are meant to be
43
broken.
years.
Records are meant to be broken.
You got close against Freo.
They did get.
But we lost.
They did get close,
Still.
but they lost. And Hawthorn obviously coming off a bye. We've talked about teams post-bye. Are they a little bit shaky? But actually, they've been a positive record so far this season. Teams coming off the bye in this middle season bye period.
Yep.
The teams are 6-4 throughout that.
Okay, that's
throughout
better
that
than I
time.
expected. I thought they would have lost more than they won.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah. And then, Leo, you got just an underrated player lately?
I don't know, underrated is the right word. Luke McDonald. Now, he's been a maligned player in the past.
Maligned?
Did I say that word
Overhated.
right? No.
He can't stand.
But he has put together a strong couple of weeks. He has. He's been very good. And I actually looked at the injury list, and Jackson Archer's also a test.
That would be a big in.
I
yeah.
think that would be an important in
Yep.
because this week, Luke McDonald and potentially Archer, they've got the matchup of the Wizard and Dylan Moore, who are pacier guys who can get out the back a bit more. How do we think that Almac can stand up in this one? Can he continue his strong form?
This is not his type of game against like the faster players. I think.
players.
I think if North play that group sort of defense, which we have been, sort of flooding it a bit, and everyone comes off their man and helps, then yes, he'll be all right. But if the Wizard or Dylan Moore gets a bit of space out the back, which North are very prone to, they could kick 3 or 4 plus like each of them. So I'm a bit worried about that.
I think a lot of that as well is dependent on the pressure upfield. If the ball's easy coming inside 50, I don't think it matters who's on those quicker guys.
Yeah, no, fair call. All right, should we get into the tips and margin? We happy with that?
Let's see who we think's going to do the forfeit.
Oh yeah, true. Marcus, what's your tip?
I'm going to go Hawks by 20 points.
Oh, it's within the 4.
Well, I'm on Hawks by 15.
15?
I'm going to be your butler for the day.
I'm going to say Hawks by 29. So we just cover our line
look,
of
he did
29
that on
and a half.
purpose.
I was going to do 35, but I was like 29. And I do think that it can be close because of a bit of Toby Pink. Don't forget to celebrate on Tuesdays, Toby Pink Tuesdays. Toby Pink limits Marby or Chol. I think he's had scalps of Kerno with 0 goals, Oscar Allen with 0 goals,
was
Tracy
someone
with
else
0
yes.
goals. And Tom Lynch got 2 on him. So that was a bit random.
And now he faces his toughest test. Marbia Joel in Tassie. Can he do it?
Find out.
Can you do it on a
Saturday.
cold? Can you do it on a cold, windy, rainy?
Saturday Arvo and,
Saturday
and
Arvo.
Tuesday in Tassie.
Oh my God, you guys are all over the shop. Because of that, let's have a break with Stockett. Hey Leo, quick question. Do you know what the ASX means?
Do you mean AFLX?
No, mate. The ASX, the Australian Stock Exchange.
Oh man, I'm absolutely clueless with that stuff.
Well, lucky for you, Stockett is a free website that gives you everything you need to know about punting stocks on the ASX.
Damn, that sounds pretty good. Where do I check them out?
Check it out via stockhead.com.au, and it's even easy for your little pea brain to understand.
Damn.
Saturday night at a Marvel Stadium, 7:35, Collingwood versus West Coast. Collingwood back at Marvel Stadium for 2 weeks in a row, Leo.
Well, the last two times the Pies have played at Marvel Stadium, this was against North and obviously Saints last week, as you said.
Yes.
It's been game on at three-quarter time.
It has.
And the Pies have taken to the last quarter to get away. But the line in this one is 10 goals. West Coast obviously travelling, and they're obviously without Oscar Allen and Jake Waterman. So it's going to be a pretty tough task for the Eagles to stay in this one. Do we think that the Eagles' young players can show a bit of fight, a bit of passion for the club? What do we think?
What do you think, Marcus?
Absolutely. They've got a bunch of young stars. You saw.
Young stars. Oh,
I'd say
Absolutely.
young.
Well, obviously, the
they've
debut.
got a lot of young.
Yeah.
They got the mid-season draft pick that made his debut. Played particularly well as 33, the most
31,
disposal, 31, the most disposals since Harry Sheasel for a player on debut.
Most disposals for an Eagle on debut. There we go.
And
Got there in the
like,
end.
and Harley Reid, the likes of Ruben Jimby, Hewitt.
You bring up Jimby. Does he play on Jamie Elliott? And how do we think he
That's
fares?
a weird-
I reckon he will. How do we think he goes?
We were talking about this before the show. Can he play on smalls? Because he's been playing on bigs lately.
He can. I think
He's got the
can.
pace.
Elliott as well plays taller for his size.
Yeah,
He's
I
on the
think.
lead player. Weirdly enough, like a lot of his goals aren't really like crumbing and quick snaps out of the pack. He's
more
it's
like
very
set
much
shot.
on the lead,
He's
set
great set
shot.
shot,
Yeah.
If they do play on each other, how many goals do you reckon Elliot will get? He always gets at least two. I
It's a
reckon.
tough one because I look back to Jimby on Jezza Cameron where he was covering Jez very well on the lead and in marking contests, and Jez still ends up with 5 in the end. And
yeah,
they're
with
all
4 in the
junk
last,
time.
yeah.
So it could be similar to that where Elliott kicks 4 or 5, but you look back at Jimby's whole game and you go, he's actually done all right.
All right. Yeah, don't mind that.
For the Pies, Darcy Cameron, he's been a man possessed this season. He's been fantastic. He's in all-Australian conversation for mine. I think he's honestly the third best ruckman this season.
He is.
Yep.
He's passed TDK the last month. I'd say.
Yeah, okay.
I think he has as well. And the Eagles, they actually concede the second most disposals out of any team to ruckman in the AFL. So I just want you boys to predict Darcy Cameron's stat line for me. Just disposals, if he kicks a goal, hit outs, all that. Clutch hit outs to advantage.
Oh, let's do it. I reckon he has minimum 20, gets a goal, plenty of clearances as well. I think he's going to have a big day.
Let's up it. 25, 2 goals.
25 and 2 goals.
5 clutch hitouts to advantage. My new stat that I brought
Just
last
5?
week.
Don't mind that.
5, no, clutch hitouts to
Oh,
advantage.
clutch hitouts.
In the clutch.
Sorry.
In the last couple of minutes.
when
he's
it's
just gonna go-
close.
When it's
Yeah,
really
when it's
close.
When
in the
that
last
10
quarter.
goal line's really
It's
struggling
going
to
to
be
be so
covered.
close. Yeah, but I think he's going to have an absolute field day because they have some bigger guys, West Coast, but they're just not good around the ground.
Yep. And I'll touch on my stat line in my big call.
Oh, in your big call.
Stay tuned for that one.
All right, I feel like we're all leaning towards Collingwood. Poor West Coast in this one. What's the margin going to be, lads? We'll start with Leo.
I think Pies by 10 goals, and I'm just going to give a quick shout out. Charlie West on debut kicks a couple after he's 6 in the VFL last week, including one after the siren. So.
6?
6.
Just a lazy 6.
That's elite.
No,
Actually,
not 6 in this game.
how many's going to kick in this game? 2?
3.
3?
3.
Ooh, on debut.
It's a very nice debut.
All right, Marcus.
I'm going to go the Pies, similar margin. I'll go 53 points.
53. I'd say I'd up this if it was at the G. Because it's at Marvel, I'm going to go 45. I think the Eagles can be in it for maybe a half and a little bit because they're young guys. They'll be a bit better under the roof. Decent conditions. But the Pies by 45, they know how to get a big win. So get around them there. All right, Sunday fun day, as Leo likes to call it. Richmond versus Adelaide. Sunday, 3:20 at the MCG. Now, there's some stats that will cheer up Richmond fans in this one. Richmond have won 4 of the last 5 meetings against the Crows. And the Crows at the MCG have had some nail biters. 4 of their last 6 have been decided by 10 points or less. I'm not saying that's going to happen in this one, but they had 3 matches against Collingwood that were really close. I can't remember the other ones, but 4 of the last 6 have been very close at the MCG. There's been a bit of an interesting
an eerie
clash.
feeling.
Yeah,
maybe.
a bit of an interesting one. But this one probably going to be a different story. Adelaide are top 3 for offense and defense. What do you always say, Leo? That's premiership worthy?
The premiership window, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's according to our mates at Fox.
Yes, Fox Footy. It's going to be cold, wet conditions, and they've obviously got the big forwards, Adelaide, that are kicking bags, that like Thriller, Fogg, Rochelle can play small or big sort of. But even their smalls on both ends can do a job.
You just say Rochelle can play big.
Yeah, he can take some marks.
Pretty sure I'm taller than him.
If he gets a step ladder, possibly.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to see.
If he goes on Thilthorpe's back and places like, what do they call those long? He plays a slender man. He could.
Slender Man.
Well, yeah, like in
Wemby.
the circus on the stilts.
Yes, that's it. That's it. This is what he does. This guy.
I'm a
He
circus
helps me out.
man.
You are.
Circus
You
man.
look like a circus.
Yeah, I grew up in the circus.
Are you
actually.
the?
Did you really? Well, you are from Adelaide.
And Leo's the bearded lady as well.
That's good from you. That's good from
that
you.
one. Oh, that's the first compliment I've ever got from Leo. We've got some matchups here. Thriller versus Bolter. Noah Bolter struggled last week on Sam Darcy.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sam Darcy's a bit taller. And Fogarty. Fogarty loves playing against the Tigers. He's got 14 goals across his last 6 games versus the Tigers. So just over two goals there. I think he can have a pretty big one. Now, Leo, which Tiger? You like talking about the green shoots and who's coming through for the Tigers. Which Tiger do you think can fire most here at the MCG?
Well, I'm looking out for 2. Firstly, Seth Campbell, 20 goals this season. He's been fantastic. Small forward for a really struggling side. And the bank man, Sam Banks.
Lock it in.
25 disposals in his last 6. He's been very good for the Tigers on playing that sort of outside role.
He surprised me with that stat, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's been in great form. So those are 2 I'm watching.
Yeah, especially at the G, I think both those players don't mind the space, the run out the back. They've both got a bit of pace as well.
Bit of zip about them.
So there is some exciting signs for Richmond, as we've talked about all year. Now, the Crows, they like feasting on the lower teams. The Crows against the bottom 6 side. So they beat the Bombers by 61 points at the MCG. Sorry to bring that up, Mark Causa. Saints also, they beat the Saints by 63. They beat North by 36. Oh, close one. And they also beat the Eagles by 66.
Yeah.
So unfortunately for the Tigers, when the Crows play these lower sides, they're going to smash them. So I'm going to tip the Crows I'm going to up it. I'm going to say 60 points just because the Tigers are lower on the ladder than some of these teams, and they've been smacking them with some big scores, and the Crows could score like 120 plus in this one. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I think Adelaide's scoring power will be too good. Crows by 63.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna hold some faith in the Tigers' green shoots, and I'll go a slightly smaller margin. I'll go 45 points.
45. All right, no worries. All right, next one on Sunday, Fremantle versus St Kilda, 5:10 at Optus Stadium to finish the round. They've actually had not many games in between. There's only been 6 games since they last met.
This is shocking.
What's going on there,
can't
Marcus?
believe this.
Yeah, there's only been 6 games since they last met. It feels like ages ago. And since then, Fremantle are a completely different team. They've won 5 of those 6, 5 on the trot, in fact.
Yes.
With the only loss coming against Collingwood, who are flying at the moment.
Yeah.
And that was only by 14 points. And if you remember that game, if they were just more efficient inside 50,
they could have won.
They could have won that game.
Yeah.
I remember Collingwood were very, very, very efficient, and Fremantle were not. But it was similar to the previous meeting between the two sides only 6 rounds ago, when at 3/4 time, St Kilda kept Fremantle to just 15 points.
Wasn't it 7 at halftime?
That is the
7
most
at half
random. We've had some random games over the last couple of years. Sydney obviously losing to Richmond. This has to be up there as one of the most random games.
Yeah.
Well, St Kilda went on to win that game by 10 goals, as you'd expect.
That's crazy.
And I want to highlight 2 people here, 2 midfielders for Freo, Brayshaw and Sarong, because they particularly struggled in that previous meeting. They only had 33 disposals combined in that game. And let's see if St Kilda can have a similar sort of influence here. If Windhager does tag, who does he go to in your opinion?
Leo's the he's big on Windhager.
I reckon he might be suited more to Sarong.
Yeah.
He's a strong tackler on the inside, Windhager. So I think Sarong might be the play.
Yeah. And Sarong has shown, well, both have shown that they can hit the scoreboard as well. So if he can limit that influence. In the last game against the Bombers, Sarong and Brayshaw combined for 64 disposals and 3 goals. So they were immense.
They were really
If you got your 2-star mids doing that, you're going to win a lot of games, I reckon.
Yeah,
Agreed.
absolutely.
But they do struggle, Fremantle, against the taller / mid-sized forwards, in my opinion. They have done so far this season. And when I was watching the Essendon game last week, I noticed that for my side with the likes of Caddy, Archie May, and Peter Wright.
Yep.
All sort of being dominant in the air, taking a lot of contested marks as well. And this is where I think Cooper Sharman for St Kilda could come into his element. He kicked 3 against Fremantle in the previous meeting, so only 6 rounds ago. So I'm going to go 4+. I reckon he can kick
4+.
I don't mind that.
He kicked 4. He kicked 4 in the last meeting, not 3.
Okay, so he could go again.
I reckon he can go again.
Go again.
I don't mind that.
Double up.
I enjoy watching Cooper Sharman play.
Yeah, so do I. I just feel for him because he has to play as like the key
Number
forward.
1. He's probably
without
a 2
Max,
or 3,
without Max King.
Yeah.
Whereas if you put him in another side, I reckon he could get a lot more goals because he's not on like the main defense. He's not.
Get him in at North.
I would love Cooper Sharman. Cooper Sharman to North.
Can we campaign? How about 3-way trade? Larky to Hawthorn, Sharman to North, and we give Saints like pick 50.
You give Larky crap all the time.
It'd be great. It'd be great at Hawthorn.
Now he's talking him up. But yeah, I agree.
Hawthorn.
He could have a good game. Yeah.
But one quick big matchup that we want. It is a big matchup because it's the two rucks. It's
Yes.
Luke Jackson. You know me, I'm about the year of the ruck. And it's Luke Jackson versus Rowan Marshall. Stats guy, you said, Luke Jackson had a very good game against the debutant in Vigo Vicentini. Can he do it against Rowan Marshall?
I think he can have a solid game, but I think he'll be brought back down to earth a little bit because that game last week, everyone was going, oh, he's the best player. He's this, he's that. He's going to be All-Australian. He's going to be this, he's going to be that. It was against literally a debutant ruckman who'd never played. Ruck is such a hard position to come in and play against one of the best players. Rowan Marshall, although he wasn't at his best last week, is one of the league's best ruckmen. I think.
Well, he still played very well.
I think
Rowan
at the
Marshall.
very least that they're going to match each other, and Rowan Marshall can rough him up a little bit and be like, oh, this is what an actual good ruckman is like. So I think Luke Jackson might get ahead of himself, and Rowan Marshall might give him a new one.
Yeah, I reckon Marshall's a bit out of form, and I reckon Jackson's just going to steamroll him.
Oh,
I'm going with Jackson.
there we go.
I wouldn't say Marshall's out of form.
Cameron was so good though.
He was, but Marshall was also good. I think they were both good, but Cameron sort of came. Marshall still had a goal and plenty of clearances.
Who won the battle though?
Cameron did.
So that's what I think this is going to be. Marshall's going to be good, but not as good.
Yeah, but you got
as
Darcy
Jackson.
Cameron, Luke Jackson.
At the moment, yes.
Interesting. Yes.
Anyway, tips and margin. What do you think, Marcus?
Dockers by 5 goals.
5 goals, Leo?
Dockers by 6 goals.
I'm going to go up it. I'm going to go 8 goals. I think the
I
Saints,
should have done 7.
especially Freo at home, the Saints have been really out of form. So they were all right against the Pies, but the Pies always have close games. So I'm going to go Freo, smack them in this one. All right, that's all the games for round 16. Now, Leo, we've had some debates about All Australian, about Coleman, about everything, all the awards. Now we're going to have a look at Rising Star. So I think we have differing opinions, but take it away.
Oh, I will take it away. The current standout for Rising Stars, obviously Levi Ashcroft.
Yes.
But there's a host of other names. You got Archie Roberts, you got Murphy Reid, Connor O'Sullivan, Harvey Langford, Nate Caddy, or Nate Daddy, as Marcus likes to say. Look, I have my pick, and it's close. It's close. It's tied in my heart, this pick.
Do we think this is one of the best drafts coming through?
All right, he just stopped me as I was about to ask.
Sorry,
a question.
I just wanted to say that before we got into it.
Is it the best? Well, it's a question without notice. There's a pretty good drafts coming through.
No, of recent years.
I don't know. Maybe it's up there. Maybe we should have planned this one in the run sheet.
Oh, gee, you want to say off the cuff, mate? It's
Well,
all
I can't
good.
think.
Agreed.
I'm trying to think of other.
all good. It's
I'm
all
trying to
good.
think of other draft classes.
I've rattled him. Sorry.
You've rattled me now.
The game's in good hands.
The game's
Leave
in
it
good
at that.
hands. Yes, it is. And yeah, now who's your pick, stats guy?
Sorry,
Tell me
mate.
your pick.
My pick for this one is Murphy Reid.
Oh, that's a crap pick. I hate that pick.
What are you talking about? I think Murphy Reid, because he's averaging 14 disposals, 1.2 goals per game. He's got 6 score involvements a game as well. I think he just fits into the Freo team perfectly. They're a very good team, Freo, as we've talked about. And he never makes the wrong decision, I feel like. He's just always hitting targets. He's had 2 4+ goal games, which is very rare for a young forward. And he just always makes the right decision. I wouldn't even mind him pushing up a bit more up the ground a bit because he's a great kick. And yeah, I think he's going to be my pick for Rising Star. I think he has more influence on the game and just doesn't stuff up as much of some of the other players we've listed.
Come on.
Yeah.
Marcus?
Interesting. Well, I'm going to be boring. I'm going to go Levi Ashcroft.
Yeah, you're
I
probably
think-
right though.
Yeah, he's averaging 20 disposals, 5 score involvements. He seems like a clutch player. You talk about clutch it outs to advantage. Well, Levi Ashcroft is a clutch player. And I think he's just undervalued because he doesn't shine as much in a Brisbane team that's already star-studded, particularly that midfield. You look at the likes of your picks, Murphy Reid. He's going to shine. He's in a young team. Actually, the youngest or second youngest team average age in the competition so far this season. And obviously, Leo, you haven't mentioned your player, but there are areas because he stands out in that defence because he's a taller player.
Oh, thanks.
What
are you boys doing to me?
Who is?
Who is? Connor O'Sullivan is my pick. His numbers don't jump off the page. But
Oh, then stop talking.
for mine, it's the eye test. His athleticism and his discipline in a structured back line. It's made him a staple of a top 4 defence.
Ooh, I just think he needs to learn a kick.
Learns
But other than that, he's very good in set marker. He's a bit of a general down there already.
Reads the game very
And he
well.
reads the game very well.
That's
so
what I like about him. But boys, I want to know, if you had to take one of this current crop to play for your team for the next decade, you can't say like who you already said, and you can't take players from your own team.
Well, that's
a
half.
la
That's half
Caddy
of-
and Roberts.
That's half of Essendon's team.
Who are you taking?
You go first, Marcus.
Well, I'd take Levi Ashcroft.
Yeah. So
Oh no, I
wait.
already said that. That's
Yeah,
what
you
I
already
said.
said that.
God damn it.
Murphy Reid.
I'll take Harvey Langford.
Oh, that's a good
I
shout.
like it.
That's actually a good shout.
Should we say ours at the same time? We might have the same one.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Nate Caddy, Nate Daddy. Nate Caddy at North. Oh, It would fix so many problems.
Well, Nate Caddy at Hawthorn will win a flag this year.
Yeah, not sure about this year. True. Both Hawthorn and North could use a bit of
Yes,
Nate Caddy.
I'd love Nate Caddy at
He
Hawthorn.
would kick a lot of goals.
He would. And
Don't
He's
go
gonna
in.
kick, what was that?
Don't go anywhere, Nate Daddy.
I think he'll stay though. He seems like he loves a bit of Essendon.
Yeah,
Nate
Bombers
Caddy for
fan.
Harley Reid. Who says no?
Me.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I'll
I
take
think
Nate.
I don't know about that one either. Are we all good with that? Rising Star?
All good, mate.
All done. All right, let's get into the lock of the week and the big calls. We've had some nerves about the lock heading into this one, so I'm going to
nervous
start
about
with
the
Leo
locks.
because he's been rattled.
I'm nervous about the locks, but Fogarty 2+. Great record against Richmond, as you touched on, Stats Guy. And I just think he won't get the best defender. And even if it is raining, he's a great kick for goal. Doesn't rarely miss, so he only needs 2 opportunities and he'll get them.
Yep, I love that. Marcus?
We've talked about the ruckman, West Coast allowing disposals to the opposing ruckman and Darcy Cameron having such a big year. So I think 15+ is an absolute lock.
Yeah, that is a
that.
lock. I really like that one. Suns to score 90+ against the D's is my one. Look, the Suns I think they average 94 points a game. You've also got Stephen May and a few other guys down there not in their best form. Ben King will be fired up with some talk in the media that we've talked about before. So I think 90+ definitely a lock for me for this weekend. You think that's a bit of a risky one?
No, I don't think it's risky. Just a little watch on that one.
Nah, they'll get 100, but my lock is 90. So
right.
that'd be nice. All right, big call. Now, I really want to see us get one this week. So we're starting with Leo.
So do
again.
I, mate. So do I. Well, you've got Darcy Cameron 15+ for your lock. That's rookie numbers. For my big call, Darcy Cameron 25+ disposals and a goal. Thank you very much. And yeah, sorry, Flinny, you're in for a long day. I reckon.
Ooh, there we go. Marcus?
You know, mine's not as exuberant as that, but
Exuberant.
Exuberant?
Exuberant.
I'm going to go
Excalibur.
Sam Darcy in a big game at the SCG against the Sydney Swans. Continue his goal scoring and aerial dominance. 5+ and 8 marks against the Sydney Swans.
Doesn't he average that?
How many hit outs?
Don't worry about it.
Hopefully 0.
You don't put Ferraris in the local
I
mechanic.
thought you just agreed with me before. On that. What's he done here?
We don't worry about that in the big call though. That's fine.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Fine.
He's got different opinions on every segment we
Fine.
do.
3 hit outs.
3 hit outs. How many
hit
ruck
outs.
contests?
He's got to.
One.
Oh.
3 hit outs and 1 ruck contest?
Yeah.
All right, my big call, let me get this back on track, is Sam Power Pepper, SPP, 3+ goals and at 15+ disposals. He scored 2+ goals 5 times this year. I think he can use his strength and pace, very similar to how Paul Curtis did against the Blues last week. I'm not saying
And
Sam
Zerha.
and Zerha. And I think it's that type of player that the Blues just don't match up that well against. A bit too
Okay.
slow for a bit of Power Pepper. And he likes to score goals against the lower teams. I think he had 4 goals against the Tigers as well. So
My issue with that is he loves a behind and an out in the full.
he does. But
So
if you're having 6 shots,
He could have like a 1, 4, and 2 game.
Oh, don't say
he
that.
Could. He
still needs
could.
a Marty impression.
Yeah.
No, here we go. All right, I think that's it for the AFL Today Show. I'm calling it, lads. That's the siren. If you enjoyed
Siren?
today, yeah, why not? If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe to AFL Today on YouTube and follow us on X, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for more footy content all season long. Subscribe, star, and like all of our shows on your podcast apps. That's Cricket Today, AFLW Today, Hold On Tickets, True Bloods, Honest Beers, and Footy Form Guide. Thank you very much to Brody and Olivia behind the camera, putting up with all types of crap in this studio. Thank you, Leo.
Thank you very much. I'm rattled.
Yeah, you are. Thank you very much, Marcus.
I'm looking forward to this forfeit.
Yes. So
I'm on.
make sure you check out the socials for Leo versus myself and Hawks versus North. We'll see you Sunday to wrap up all things round 16. We'll see you then on AFL Today.